Hello, and welcome back to Donghua family. At the end of the last episode, after successfully refining his chi into threads and celebrating a bit too extravagantly, Qin Mu was about to test how far his skill could shoot when he was immediately called out by the Imperial Preceptor. Because of this, he obediently retracted his hand. At this moment, the Imperial Preceptor continued his lecture. His voice echoed through the mountains, carrying a magical quality that captivated his listeners. He spoke of creating a completely new sword art called the roaming sword style, which shatters all old rules. The main idea is that the sword doesn't need to follow rigid patterns, but can soar freely with unpredictable transformations, like a divine dragon weaving through clouds or a phoenix spreading its wings in the highest heavens. Listening to this, Qin Mu's eyes lit up, and it felt as if a new door had opened in his mind. He knew he had chosen the right civilization. Meanwhile, outside the mountain gate, Dao Child Lin Xian, who was eavesdropping on the Imperial Preceptor's lecture, was deeply shaken. He turned to his martial uncle and asked why they had to oppose such a great master. Opposite him, Dan Yangzi replied grimly, "He is indeed talented, but the Imperial Preceptor has joined forces with the Heavenly Devil Cult, the sworn enemy of the righteous path." More importantly, while the Imperial Preceptor's education system produces many experts, it does so within a fixed framework, like a pre-paved highway. It can help many people travel quickly, but it stunts the individual paths of true geniuses, who need to carve their own mountains and forge their own paths. This is the real reason the Dao sect is determined to oppose him to the end. Back in the class, the Imperial Preceptor lectured for 2 full days and nights without rest. He taught another powerful technique, the drilling sword style, a sword chi that spins like a diamond drill, specializing in breaking through the toughest defenses. After lecturing, he met with a young ancestral master and confided that among the students, only 1 or 2 were truly suited for his sword arts. Then, after vaguely hinting at the ancestral master's impending retirement, the Imperial Preceptor departed. It was then that the young ancestral master approached Qin Mu and said in a cold voice, "I invited the Imperial Preceptor to lecture for these 2 days specifically for you. Now that you've reaped the benefits, go down and deal with the crowd blocking the gate." With that, the ancestral master gave Qin Mu no chance to refuse, unleashing a kick containing boundless force that sent him flying straight down the mountain. Quickly, Qin Mu landed as gently as a leaf and walked out to face Dao Child Lin Xian. The atmosphere instantly grew as taut as a bowstring. The battle was about to begin. Dao Child Lin Xian was an expert at the 6 Directions realm, a level higher than Qin Mu. But, playing fair, he formed hand seals and sealed a portion of his own cultivation base, lowering it to match Qin Mu's 5 Elements realm. Seeing Qin Mu pull out a pile of weapons, especially the Junior Guardian sword which radiated an impressive spiritual aura, Dan Yangzi quickly made a rule: no weapons. Hearing this, Qin Mu smirked slightly. His heavenly eyes opened, allowing him to see the flow of origin energy. He threw a punch, and a single 9 dragons riding wind and thunder technique transformed all the rubble on the ground into a giant sand dragon that roared as it charged his opponent. Lin Xian, however, was no pushover. He unleashed the heaven-overturning seal, a palm strike that formed a wall of bronze and iron, blocking the attack with a terrifying explosion. Unfortunately for him, Qin Mu had a hidden move. Concealed within the debris were countless microscopic threads of origin energy from the entangling sword style he had just learned. These threads of sword chi combined to form an agile azure dragon, which continued its assault through the explosion. Lin Xian was caught off guard, surprised that Qin Mu's cultivation was even stronger than the Dao sect's ultimate techniques. He hastily used the Blazing Will seal to create 2 defensive fire wheels. But Qin Mu gave his opponent no time to breathe. He closed the distance with incredible speed, using his bare hands to chop like a blade, shattering the Blazing Will seal and striking Lin Xian so hard that he coughed up blood and flew backward. Pushed into a corner, Lin Xian unleashed his ultimate technique, the 14 Heavens of the Dao Sword, the signature sword art of the Dao sect. A colossal black and white taiji diagram descended from the sky, carrying an immense pressure that caused the ground to crack. Witnessing this destructive attack hurtling toward him, Qin Mu was unafraid. He unleashed his own ultimate skill, the Sword of Mountains and Rivers, the very same god-slaying sword art used by the village chief. One swing of his sword, and his sword intent manifested as majestic mountains and rivers, directly confronting the taiji diagram. In that moment, the 2 ultimate techniques clashed in an earth-shattering, heaven-shaking collision. In the midst of the battle, Dao Child Lin Xian spotted a flaw in Qin Mu's technique right on his left shoulder and immediately launched a decisive strike. On the other side, Qin Mu reacted with lightning speed, using the demon god's mighty force seal to shield himself while launching a counterattack. In the end, Lin Xian's sword pierced through Qin Mu's palm and struck his shoulder, drawing fresh blood. At the same time, our protagonist also embedded dozens of sword chi strands into his opponent, leaving Dao Child Lin Xian severely wounded and falling to the ground. The match was over. Dan Yangzi rushed to help Lin Xian up, bowed respectfully to Qin Mu, and then left. Only then did Qin Mu feel the bone-deep pain, stumbling as he leaned against a stone statue by the mountain gate. But it wasn't a statue, it was a living divine beast, a dragon Qilin. The beast licked Qin Mu's wounds with its tongue, and they healed instantly. Seeing this divine saliva, the crafty thief Mu immediately tried to trick it into drooling more. But no matter how much he asked, the dragon Qilin ignored him. After finding him too annoying, it sighed and finally spoke, "There is a large green buffalo on the mountain. If you catch it and bring it to me, I will give you more." Hearing this, Qin Mu rushed up the mountain, his new goal to find the green buffalo to trick the dragon Qilin for its saliva. Along the way, he met the group of princes and scholars who had just woken up and were heading down the mountain. They were full of fighting spirit, excitedly discussing how they would fight 300 rounds with the Dao Child. The second prince, Ling Yushu, was more realistic. He admitted the Dao Child was very strong, but after the Imperial Preceptor's guidance, he felt he stood a chance. Ling Yushu caught sight of Qin Mu and looked slightly displeased. He told the sixth prince that although Qin Mu was skilled and a divine doctor, his origin as a discarded citizen of the Great Ruins, a background of mud, made him unworthy of the seventh princess. When the group reached the foot of the mountain, the Dao Child was gone. A search for the hidden hero immediately began. Amidst all the excited discussion, another shocking piece of news arrived. The Dao sect had just left, and now the Great Thunderclap Monastery had sent its people. An old monk with a benevolent face, but an unfathomably deep aura, and a young monk with sharp, piercing eyes were already seated calmly before the mountain gate, their presence making the air heavy. Who will defeat the opponent this time to uphold the reputation of the Supreme Imperial College? Subscribe to the Donghua Family YouTube channel for more details tomorrow. For now, goodbye and see you again.